I used to wake up on weekends and the first thing that I would do is come out here to this space, this little part of the decking. I've got lots of plants out here, and I would grab my coffee and I would just wander really slowly looking for all the new little plant things that I could find. Maybe it's a new leaf, maybe it's a plant that wasn't doing so well that all of a sudden has come back to life. I loved those moments. I loved finding all of those little pieces of joy in plant care. That's what plant care is all about, in my opinion. But somewhere in 2025, it kind of just stopped feeling like that. And honestly, my 2025, it wasn't a good year. It was actually a pretty rough year. I really didn't like it for a long time. But now looking back, it's 2026, I'm getting myself back out of it. And what's actually helped me get out of that rut was a lot smaller than I thought it actually would be. So today, I'm just going to talk you through how I got myself out of that rut, what I did, and how to bring a little bit of joy back to your plant care. For example, I literally just spotted this before we started filming, and that is, look at this new leaf on this Syngonium tricolor, three-spot tricolor, and the pink on it is just stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. That pink is bright and gorgeous, and it's so small, but it just makes my day. Now, I wouldn't probably normally show you all of this mess, but this is reality half the time for me. You know, it's not Instagram perfect or anything like that. I wish it was, but it's not. But I've always got plant stuff to do, so it always feels like there's something else to do. And in 2025, my plants just got messy in the end, right? They just felt messy, I guess. But when I say messy, it got 10 times worse than this. I had crispy plants, yellowing leaves that I just didn't deal with, lots of failed propagations, empty pots, like pots with dirt with nothing else in them. I mean, it just was not good because I just didn't feel like dealing with it, unfortunately. And when you're feeling low, the small things feel heavy. The thing was, I still cared about my plants, but I didn't feel the joy, I didn't feel the love in life in general, really. I hate to admit that, but it's true. And my plants felt the brunt of it. You know that shift when your plants go from something you enjoy looking at to something that you quietly perhaps avoid? Have you been there before? I think many of us have, to be honest, especially if life starts to get in the way, right? You stop doing the small things properly, and that's when little mistakes creep in, unfortunately. It's not one big mistake, it's just tiny little things stacking up over time here and there. So you might skip checking a plant here, leave something a little bit longer in water over there, and you tell yourself it'll probably be fine. Okay, it's raining now. Glad I moved inside. Look at it. Did you see it? Right. Where was I? That was a lot of rain. So, okay, so little mistake creep in. So maybe you might skip checking that plant over there. You might stop wiping those plant leaves over there somewhere. And you tell yourself it'll be fine, but really you're just a little bit numb. You don't think either way. Because when everything else feels heavy, those little moments, they just slip through. And the build-up of the mess that I had, it wasn't really that dramatic either. It was like a little bit creeping here and there, and then it just all built up when I didn't even realize it. And it wasn't because I didn't know better, it was just because my mind was too full of crappy stuff, really. You know, I wasn't fully present. I actually had a lot of emails when I started talking about this from different people going through a really hard 2025. I don't think it was the best year. Hopefully 2026 is going to be better for us. It's definitely going to be better for me. So towards the end of 2025, I finally got to a point in my head where I just thought, this is ridiculous. I can't do this anymore. I was looking around, had all of these bad plant situations, but thought, I'm not actually bad at plants. I'm just scattered. My brain is scattered, and there's too much of this plant stuff going on and not enough of me to handle all of this plant stuff. So I had to do something about it. So here's exactly what I did and why it cut through the overwhelm. Because if you see all of those like house organization tips and tricks, I see videos and they say, take everything out, put it on the bed, stack up in piles, and then clean it out. But for me, doing one big thing, a big overhaul, just felt like too much. I mean, it sounds like too much. So I actually went the opposite way. I actually started with the little things. So the very first thing I did, I got a notebook, I literally liked pen and paper, not digital, I preferred the pen and paper. And I walked around my house and I literally just noted down every single big and little thing about my plants that wasn't quite right. So, you know, a pot that was empty, a propagation that was just soil and just gone, a propagation box that was half filled, half not, and there's about 3 or 4 of those. And I wrote down which room they were in and every single thing. And that was just a start, because the point of that is not to show how much you've got going on, because you already know you've got a lot that needs to be done. The point is to get it out of here and down to something that you can cross off and fix and do it. Like just get it out of your mental load. That mental load is the worst thing that sits there for too long. That's what I wanted to get rid of first. So I did that, took my notebook, and honestly, that just felt like a weight off my shoulders already. So that was the first thing. And then I got that list, and anything that was under 5 minutes or would have taken under 5 minutes, something simple, I did first. So small pots with dirt but no plant, I put them all in a group on my table, and then I threw most of them away into the compost or whatever it needed to be. I had random tools everywhere that I maybe left, a couple of like moss poles, DIY moss poles that were short and sharp, and I cut. They were lying around, bought them all together and just put them into the corner, into the garage. You know, 5 minute here, 2 minute there. So all of the things under 5 minutes I did first and got rid of. And honestly, I felt like it just changed instantly. And I saw all of the stuff that I had just cleaned up, put it on my table to start with. And just all of that was visual noise, visual clutter that was sitting all around my house that I just got rid of. That first thing was just taking that first step, and that already lifted a weight off my shoulders. And I didn't feel like I had done much. So that was the first thing I did. And it probably only amounted to 10% of everything that I kind of probably needed to do. But that 10%, as I said, it made such a noticeable visual mental difference. The next thing I did, propagations are a big thing for me. I have them everywhere. So I took all the propagation pots, some with half filled, some with no fill, some with wet sticks that just hadn't survived, and I cleaned them all up and I put them back into, like I took the moss and everything, put them back into one pot. So I literally went from, I think about 6 propagation pots, big and small, down to 3, right? Just got rid of all my propagations, threw all the ones out that either hadn't grown over the last 3 or 4 months or were too far gone, and I just didn't want to deal with them. I gave myself permission to let go of the ones I just didn't want to deal with, and I kept the ones that were healthy. I normally would have tried to just rescue it out of, not necessarily guilt, but just, I knew I could do it, so I would do it. I wouldn't throw it out. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. This time, I just didn't do it. Out, in the bin, whatever I needed to do. And it felt weirdly powerful to be able to give myself permission to do that. No guilt, just gone. If I want to do it again, I can always do more propagations and more cuttings. I can do it in the future. But for now, at that time, was the right thing to do. As my partner said, bish bosh bash, decision made, done, off we go. Okay, the third thing I did, all the tools I had on a shelf, those basket hangers, I had like 20 of them lying around. I don't use them. What are they even for half the time? Why did I keep them? That's it, throw them away. Wonky moss poles that were leaning over, or a plant that was growing off the moss pole that needed to be put back on Velcro. Again, only took under 5 minutes, but I put it back with the Velcro, got a whole lot of Velcro, went around, had my list of all the plants that needed that, and did that all in one go. Kind of like batching. If I had a pot plant that was sitting in a cachet pot and that pot is too high for the outer pot, I would try and change them over, or at least take them out, or find a spare one that I had lying around and swap it over. If it fit a little bit better, not perfectly, that would do. Again, 5 minutes, a swap here, a swap there, and it just helped a little bit. It was just the simple things on the tools that I had that wouldn't take long, but again, caused obvious clutter, caused that visual clutter, and now they're fixed, and that's just gone. I haven't fixed every single thing that I've got, but a lot of the little things, the visual stuff, the mind, I want to swear, but I'm not going to. The mind, you know, bleh, that you just need to get rid of. Honestly, these little things helped so much, I can't tell you. And then one more thing I haven't really mentioned, but just with the plants that I have left over, all the ones that I still have, if there were any yellow leaves or like stuff not working, I tried to pull all of those yellow leaves off and just leave the plants gorgeous. That might leave only 2 or 3 leaves on one plant, that's fine, but at least it wasn't the yellow, dead kind of leaves reminding me that everything was not perfect, right? So just giving yourself permission. It's okay to take off the dead leaves, but if you know that your plant is having a bit of trouble, maybe write it down and deal with it in another week or so. And then the final thing I did, and this is more of this isn't a physical thing, but I said it before, I gave myself permission to just let go, to be okay with where it was, where the mess was, and know that, you know, that was just a life phase and I was getting through it, and it was just one small step at a time. And honestly, once that small amount of clutter was gone, I was able to then focus on my actual plants, and I could see and even feel which plants I wanted to keep. And some of them were genuinely beautiful, but they weren't right for me anymore. So I did a video earlier that I just needed to get rid of those plants. So I knew which ones I wanted to keep, and I knew which ones I wanted to perhaps sell or give away or literally throw out. I'll leave the video for that at the end so that you can link to that next. I think the biggest thing is give yourself permission to let go of the plants, the tools, the propagations, all of that little stuff. If it's too much, it's too much. Let it go. Put it to the bin or put it to a space where it will do better, or whatever you need to do, give yourself permission and let that mental load go just a little bit more. And honestly, that's exactly why I built this digital product that I've been talking about. It's called the Sell My Plants Back, because I didn't want to just throw out really beautiful plants. I wanted to give them to a good home and another plant nerd like me who would also just give it even more beautiful care. So I started selling plants and I started creating, it was a lot of faff to begin with, and then I learned how to batch. I created my own little AI assistant and I did it all. And again, it was just helping my mental load and getting a bit of cash on the side. That did not hurt either. But I knew I was giving those plants to other plant nerds or plant lovers. I say plant nerds in a very positive way because I am one. But just other plant people who loved them as well and could make those plants flourish a lot more than I did. And I've kept the ones that I really still love and adore, and that's bringing a lot of joy back. I think the whole point of this was I didn't do everything at once. I didn't do a huge, culling makeover weekend. I did little things that were taking up a lot of space in my head and in my visual space. And that helped so much. But I also stopped obsessing over every imperfect patch or slightly empty vine. It's okay that things were like that. That was a phase, and we can always get our plants back to better or beautiful if we need to when we're ready. And here's what surprised me the most. This whole process that I went through a few months ago now, it wasn't like doing every single thing I had to do. It wasn't everything on my list. It was just enough to make me want to keep going. Once I'd cleared that first bit of clutter, I saw how good it made me feel, and I wanted to clear the next bit. And then once I'd moved 10% on, I was curious about the next 5% or the next 10%. The clarity came after I started actioning it. And I read something the other day. Do you know 𝗟𝗨𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥? He's all about productivity. He's very famous in the YouTube world. And he said something about procrastination that just made so much sense to me. He said, it's not really about being disciplined. It's not a discipline problem. It's that we're waiting to feel ready before we start something. That's what procrastination is. We need to feel ready in our head. But the fact is, you will probably never feel ready. It's the clarity and the motivation and the momentum that starts to show up after you start something. Starting something is the hardest thing, but as soon as you've started something, that momentum kicks in and it starts to move forward. And that was exactly it for me. I didn't wake up feeling motivated to do it. I actually woke up fed up about everything that was happening and just started to do one thing, just small actions, and that got me there. And the nicest part now, I don't even know if you can hear it in my voice, my joy is starting to come back. Those mornings are starting to come back. And especially now that it's autumn coming in for me, the light is a bit softer. It's not sweaty 30-degree days. It's actually rained a little bit behind me in between, as you've noticed. And I can stand there now with my coffee and look at what grew over summer instead of scanning for problems. Like, it's so much of a different feeling. My alocasias, as you might have seen in my last video, they're ridiculous right now. My calatheas are making a comeback. Oh, they're just beautiful. I absolutely love them. And I'm loving this season again. And not everything is done. You can still see I've got a lot of stuff to do, but I can actually enjoy the little things again, enjoy the growth again. And thank you, by the way, for coming with me on this little thing. It's not the easiest thing to admit that I didn't feel good. It was very hard at the time. I didn't really admit it back then. But pretending everything's perfect doesn't help either. So if you're somewhere in the middle, I've got you, I've been there, I know what it's like. Just know that you're not alone. So look, if this hits home and your shelves feel a little bit heavy now, I'm actually running a free June-July declutter with me. I'm going to do this again really big in the next 2 or 3 months. It's going to be mid-year. It's basically a guided reset over a few weeks, 1 email each week, small steps, no big overwhelm. I'll be doing it, as I said, alongside you, and there'll be space for us to talk about it, probably a Facebook group or something like that. And if you want to join me, it's free. I'm going to leave a link for that below. There's already people joined, and it will make a big deal of it, and we'll share success stories and wins and the cluttered space before and after, all of that kind of stuff. If you need need to go through something like that and you need a bit of help and a bit of hand holding, I'll be there with you. You can come and do it with me. So that is it today for another video. Thank you for joining me on this one. A little bit different, but I am going to leave you with this video next. I mentioned it before, so you can come and actually see some of the big plants I decluttered from my own collection, starting with my beautiful birkin, which, you know, I had to say goodbye to. Some might think I'm crazy for giving that girl away, but she had to go. So otherwise, have an amazing week, bringing back some of that leaves, love and laughter, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks very much. See you later, guys. Bye. Boy, get out of the way.